Thank you so very much, Curtis. And now it's my pleasure to bring to Let's Talk and to our viewing audience Dr. Courtney Johnson Rose. She is president of the National Association for Real Estate Brokers, and we're going to throw black in there, Dr. Rose, but president of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, an organization that aggressively seeks to bolster Black home ownership. Dr. Rose, thanks so much for being with us. We can't hear you. So is it on your Bluetooth or are you with us on your headphones? Okay. All right. Well, we're going to take a break for a minute to see if we can get this hooked up, because we certainly do want to talk to Dr. Johnson Rose today, because this is Financial Literacy Month. And there is so much. I'm going to tell you, one of the things that we talked about, I was at a conference this week on home ownership, and there was a conversation about terms. And I think you will see in the coming days that folks are going to move away from that term literacy. I think it's maybe financial education, financial empowerment, but there's something about the term literacy that those who are in the home ownership and financial awareness realm are moving away from. Dr. Johnson Rose, are you with us now?
Yes, ma'am, I am. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh no, I'm just glad that you're here and glad to see you here today and to talk
Yes, ma'am.
about National Building Black Wealth Day on Saturday, April the 13th.
Yes.
Yeah, so according to NARAB's 2022 State of Housing in Black America report, well, we're talking about millennials. Well, let's go back. I don't want to go there first. I really
Okay.
want you to talk about some of what your organization does and how you are addressing the challenges and obstacles that Blacks face in navigating the real estate market.
Yes, thank you so much. We really appreciate the opportunity and our partnership with the Washington Informer. So we're NARAB, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. We are the premier network of Black real estate professionals. We were founded in 1947, and we are the realtors. And the reason why we're called realtors, Denise, is because when we were founded in 1947, Blacks could not become realtors. So our founders founded the Realtist Association, and we have been focused on educating, empowering, and providing opportunities for the Black community to be able to own real estate. So we advocate, we educate, we do several different programs throughout the year, but our focus is on building Black wealth and helping our community build Black wealth.
Dr. Johnson Rose, I want to go back a little bit because I love history. I hated it as a kid, and now I love it today. And
Yes,
when you
ma'am.
talk about Blacks were not allowed to be a member of or not classified, I guess, as realtors. Who
Yes,
was a pioneer that you could mention maybe to us that really helped to break that barrier, or not even break the
yes,
barrier, but to create, an organization that Black people could be proud to be a member of, that help to build
yes.
wealth in Black communities?
Yes, so we were very fortunate in our community. NARAB has 12 founders, 11 men and one woman. I'll just highlight Nanny Black, who was our first one of our first founders, and a Black female. She was a real estate broker out of Detroit. We also had organizations, the Dearborn Realtors. That association was out of Chicago, and Empire Realtors out of Atlanta. So Atlanta and Chicago had Black real estate associations before NARAB. So these associations were networks of Black real estate professionals, and our organization, Denise, includes brokers, appraisers, property managers, the whole gamut of real estate professionals. And in Atlanta and Chicago, they had already formulated and said that we need to be connected as Black professionals. And they were able to connect with other brokers across the country, like Miss Black in Detroit, A. Maceo Smith out of Dallas, etc., to be able to come together and form this network. We're so blessed that we've grown over the past 77 years from 12 founders to 120 chapters across the country and
Amazing.
thousands of members, with again 9 affiliate associations that focus on every area of real estate. Our organization was very instrumental in getting the Fair Housing Act passed in 1968. We've been instrumental in Community Reinvestment Act and what banks have to do in Black communities. So we have had to advocate on our behalf and on behalf of our community to really try to provide equity in housing. Our motto and our creed is democracy in housing. And that's what we have been pursuing for the past 77 years. So it's interesting to fast forward 77 years later. Now we have launched the Building Black Wealth Tour, because we have data,
Hmm.
and I know we're going to talk about some of that data that says why it's so important for us to be in our communities right now, educating and inspiring our community to buy real estate. We also promote
And I
all of
want,
the advantages. Yes, ma'am.
yeah, I want to go because I want to build up to this, because when it's 77 years ago, or even before then, I mean, when we had the Great Migration from the South to the North,
Yes.
people living together, until they could actually, home ownership to me, I thought was a real aspiration for Black people post
Yes.
slavery, and and this organization maybe evolved out of protecting black homeowners as they began to purchase property. Now, and that's where NARAB comes in. To talk about where we've come since then. And
Yes.
if you could paint that picture for us, because I want people to know that this was we're in a different generation now, and I think you're going to talk a little bit about that. But talk about
Yeah.
from whence we came.
Yeah. It's so interesting because when you look at our history, we were really cut out of the real estate industry and the ability to own property and to build wealth. And we've had to fight for that right over the years and fight for access, and fight for the ability to own property. When you think about our history, we were property before we were able to before we had the opportunity in this country to buy property.
Exactly.
So there has been a lot of pioneers, a lot of leaders before us that have really fought and given their lives for us to have access to build wealth and access to real estate. And that's why we're very concerned at NARAB that we see right now our data is showing that Black millennials are not buying real estate at the same pace as baby boomers and Gen Xers that were African Americans did. Our community right now is at 45% home ownership, Denise, compared to the white community, which is at 76% home ownership. So there's more of a 30%, more than a 30% gap in terms of home ownership. And you see that when it comes to wealth. Average wealth of a Black family is 26,000. Some data shows, and then others shows that white families have over $200,000 worth of wealth. Where does that come from? The number one wealth building tool, the easiest tool you can use to build wealth is home ownership. But we are finding that year to date, from 22 to 23, mortgage applications are down in our community by
Hmm.
20%.
Wow.
Mortgage applications are down amongst Black millennials by 22%. So we look at HMDA data, we look at mortgage applications. We know if you're not applying for a mortgage, and the applications are down, then we know that the interest, and the desire for home ownership is actually down in our communities. We attribute that to a lot of things. One is higher interest rates. You hear it on the news. You hear it in the media that interest rates are higher. We blame it on inflation. Everything costs more. Gas, milk, food, etc. Everything costs
Yeah,
more.
that's the big news today about the
Yes,
increased cost of
yes,
food.
yes. And what we're seeing, and then housing prices post COVID have increased in most markets. So when we look at higher price homes, lack of inventory in terms of affordability, higher interest rates, and then lifestyle changes. A lot of our millennials don't stay at a job for 20 and 30 years. They move around,
Hmm.
they change cities. So all of those things are keeping them from purchasing a home. But we know at NARAB that it's the number one wealth building tool that we have. And if we're going to make a dent, make any progress towards closing the wealth gap, homeownership is one of the number one ways we can actually do that.
So this tour, this 100 city tour, and I'm going to assume
Yes,
the District of Columbia is included in that. But
yes, ma'am.
what can people expect when you visit the city and you do this 1 day event?
Yes, ma'am. So we are going to be in 100 cities on April the 13th. You can register at www.nareblackwealthtour.com, NAREB blackwealthtour.com. When you
Okay, we're
click
going
on,
to post that.
thank you so much.
Okay,
when
all
you
right.
when you click on the site, you have two options. One, you can find a city. We have 100 cities across the country. We're in Philly, we're in Houston, we're in Detroit, we're in Dallas, we're in LA, we're all over the country. So you can find your nearest city. Or we also have a virtual community day, a virtual live feed. So you can register for either option. When you have the ability to attend, there is workshops, there's an expo, there's one-on-one sessions. We try to create an environment for our community where it's not like walking into a stuffy bank. We create an environment that's comfortable, that's consumer friendly, that gets you access to the information that you need and the professionals that you need to walk you through the process of wealth building. So it's a fun day. All of our events, we have DJs, we have events for the kids, we have balloons, we have popcorn. We create an environment that's fun, that's friendly, but most importantly, that's educational. So we have classes every hour on the hour, and opportunities for you to meet one on one with Black lawyers, Black realtors, and other professionals to help you in your journey.
And as a black realtist, what could you just? I mean, I'm trying to get a preview now. Give us
Yes, ma'am.
three. I mean, because we talk about barriers all the time, but if someone really wanted to maybe come to this event or talk to a realtist or a lawyer about how to purchase a home, if you have three main things that you would
Yes.
recommend to prepare for that process, what would those be?
Yes. So great question. I love this. Number one is check your credit. We utilize credit in so many different ways. And a lot of times we don't know what's on our credit. So, number one, as you go into this process, check your credit. And I do want to add, Denise, at the Building Black Wealth Tour, every consumer has the opportunity through our NID Housing Counseling affiliate to receive a free credit report, even online for the virtual community day. So if you don't want to spend the cost to run your credit, you need to get it ran. You can get your credit ran and talk to a housing counselor for free at the Building Black Wealth Tour. So first is check your credit. Second thing is paperwork. There's a lot of documentation that's part of the home buying process, and you can't be intimidated by it. It's just time to get organized, to gather paperwork, bank statements, check stubs, W 2s, all those items that you know are going to be needed. Get those items together. At the Black Wolf Tour, and we have an ABC to home buying class where we outline all of the paperwork that you will need to apply for a mortgage. So you aren't surprised when they ask you for certain things. We're going to talk about that at the Black Wolf Tour, the checklist of items that you need to prepare yourself for homeownership. And the third thing is understand debt to income ratio. There is a misconception out there that credit is the number one reason why African Americans are not qualifying for loans. It's not credit, it is actually debt to income ratio. So, debt to income ratio, how we're managing our expenses versus our income, is the number one reason why we are not getting qualified. Student loan debt is a big obstacle in our community that hurts us with debt to income ratio. UNCF stats show that 75% graduates with about $41,000 worth of debt. That's an impediment to it. So we have to have strategies and ways to work with you to overcome student loan debt or other things that you may have that's causing you not to be able to qualify for the type of house that you want to buy. So with that, we discuss all of those things at the Building Black Wealth Tour. We have classes for it. We have one-on-ones for it. We have the resources there to walk you through the process and hold your hand through the process to get you through it.
That's
Last thing,
amazing. Oh, go ahead. Go
the
ahead.
last thing I want to mention is very important, and that's our State of Housing in Black America report that you referenced, Denise. Our data shows that there are more than 2 million mortgage-ready Black Americans. Mortgage ready means they have the income and they have the credit to qualify. They have the income, they have the credit. They just don't know that they can qualify for a loan. They may think they need 20% down. They may think their credit's not high enough. They may think they don't make enough money. Our tour is designed for them to educate them that you are qualifiable for a home. Our stats also show, our data shows that there's 3.4 million almost mortgage ready Black Americans. That means they're on the border. They may need 20 points on their credit score to be in that range. They may need to bring their debt to income down by 2% to get there. So they're on the borderline. There's some things that they can do to get themselves ready, but that homeowners. Our tour is designed for them. Our tour is designed to
Okay.
go into our communities, give them the education that they need to become homeowners.
This is, it sounds like a really, really amazing one-day event. But at the same time, it's connecting them to realtors who can continue to, I mean, and
That's
I say
most
hold
important.
people's hands to get them through that process. I know
Yes,
that
ma'am.
folks can go to your website. There's a lot of information there.
Yes.
And even, as we talked about before, the Washington Informer does a special issue in November. I'm sorry, in June, which is Home Ownership Month. That's
Yeah.
when we really try to focus in on all the issues in one issue that will help people to strengthen their knowledge and their ability to purchase a home, particularly here in the DMV. We know that so many things have been thrown up against us, as you said, so many barriers. But the more information we have, the better equipped we are to make that loan, and of course, I mean, to make that purchase. But we
Yes.
also know that there are a lot of people out there that don't want to own. They may want to rent, but I think there's a conversation for them as well.
Yes, it is. We always start off our days with the importance of home ownership. And there's so many benefits to it from wealth building, but also children do better in school when they grow up in a home that their parents own. It's just so many benefits to it that we really talk about that as part of the Black Wolf Tour. We also have a class for investing in real estate. We have a lot of Black millennials that are not stationary in one city, but they may want to purchase a home. We have a national partnership with Airbnb. They may want to purchase a home and make it an investment property. That's great because it gets them in the game of building wealth.
Love it, love it. Dr. Courtney Johnson Rose, thank you so very much for sharing this
Thank
information
you
with
for
us.
having me.
We're going to have you back. This won't be the last
Yes, ma'am.
time, particularly in June, because we want to help make sure that you're a part of the conversation that we have when we talk more about Black homeownership and building Black wealth. So uh, drive safe. I see it looks like you're in a car, so be safe and look
Yes,
forward to talking to you
thank
soon.
you.
All righty.
Blessings to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Same to you.